I'm Coach Dave. Welcome back to Coach's Corner.
Come on.
All right, welcome to another episode of Coach's Corner. I'm Dave McDonough. Today we're going to kind of go off a fight that happened a couple of weeks ago, and I have a gentleman here who was there in training. We're going to talk about the Usyk Tyson Fury fight and some of the boxing news with Fernely Feliz Jr. rising heavyweight in the heavyweight division. Spent how many months were you there? You were there for a while with Tyson.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here on Coach's Corner.
Yeah, as always, you got an open invite. So, we're happy to have you back, and we're happy that you're home and,
Yeah, I mean, I was gone for almost 3 months, 2.5 months, I'd say.
Yeah.
And it was an amazing experience, man.
Yeah, I mean, you've been to, a lot of camps, right? And, watching the footage leading up to the fight of you, and you looked in great shape. And, obviously seeing you in the gym when you came home physically, knowing you for so long, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think this is really the best shape I've seen you in, physically and mentally as a fighter.
Of course.
And I know you put in a lot of hard work over there. The camp was in Malta, correct?
Malta, yeah.
I mean, before we go into the boxing end, let's talk about Malta. As far as that's a heck of an experience to be over there. What was that like for you?
All I could say to everyone is you have to visit Malta one time at least.
Yeah.
In your lifetime. It's beautiful. It's a small, tiny island close to Italy.
Off to Italy and Sicily, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. Like, everything about Malta is beautiful.
Yeah, I
man.
watched some of your clips and some of the stuff you were putting up, and yeah, the weather was gorgeous. Why do you think they picked that area for them to train?
I think the timing and the weather is close to like the Riyadh time,
right?
And weather. I believe. I wasn't too sure. I didn't really ask that, but
yeah,
it was a beautiful camp. I mean, when we would go on like 4 to 5 mile jogs, and it was just like a beautiful sight.
I saw some of your runs. You guys were running every day, sprinting up the streets in the villages and along by the water and your journey out there. Were you surprised when you got the call to go there? Or was that something that you guys were working on?
We were working on it for I'd want to say like 2 to 3 months, and then Spencer Brown actually, like he watched some footage and he brought me out. He flew me out there, and yeah, man, that's really how it happened.
Yeah. So Spencer Brown is Tyson's main guy for Gold Star Promotion, correct? He handles all of Tyson Fury and everything. So you going out there, and we'll kind of lead up to the fight. In your mindset, this is a big fight, right? You got
Huge.
Tyson Fury fighting Usyk again in Riyadh,
Huge.
right? Huge fight before Christmas. The last major fight, heavyweight bout for a title, but the last major boxing match for the year, basically.
Yeah.
The biggest one out there. Fury losing to Usyk in the first one. So now we have a rematch, which we led up to. Now you're going to camp. What was your preparation before you got there? And what were you thinking about? Like, here you are helping major heavyweight, one of the biggest heavyweights in the world, get ready for a major, major fight. What did you do to prepare yourself to get ready, mentally and physically?
I want to say I wasn't sure if I was going or not. It kind of just happened like overnight, and then like 2 days later I was there. So I had like, I want to say 48 hours to get prepared. But I mean, I was training regardless.
Yeah, you're training, right?
But I don't know. I was kind of like, I was very nervous because this is a huge camp, huge fight, and I don't know, man. I just kind of just went, and it just worked out. Everything worked out in my favor. From day one, I got there the second day. I got there on a Sunday. Monday, I was already sparring. Yeah. And thank God Tyson wasn't in great condition because from like the jet lag and everything, I was tired, man. Like that fourth round, we did 4 rounds. In that 4th round, I was gassed, bro. But Tyson was also, he wasn't in shape.
You think they were testing you right away to see if they were going to keep you, or how camps run? You know that they bring in different guys. Yeah. Some guys are able to rise to the occasion and help, because basically your job is to help him.
Right.
Yeah. And look, you want to get some work for yourself, but you're not there to outshine him.
Right.
But you want to stay in the mix. So do you think they threw you into the mix? And look, you were probably one of the smaller heavyweights there, correct?
Right. Right.
As far as, size-wise, you had some other big, I saw you had Alexis Barrera, you had Lorena.
Yeah, Kevin Lorena was there
Kevin
also.
Lorena was there. You had a big bunch of guys out there.
Right. It was 4 of us, or 3 of us in the beginning of the camp. Then there was like 5 guys. Then it just came down to me, Kevin, and this Russian kid.
Yeah.
And then it was just me and the Russian at the end, the last week. But there was some good talent there, man. It was full of great heavyweights, and guys that you see now, like Kevin Lorena's the Bridgerweight champion right now.
Yeah.
WBC.
Yeah, big name out there. And I mean, do you think, they saw film on you, and I know, you box both ways. You can box southpaw, you box righty.
Right.
You're a natural righty, but you box a lot southpaw.
Yeah.
And, people who don't know boxing, that style that Usyk has, and we'll get into this, do you think them looking at you and saying you have that kind of movement, herky-jerky, speed, power, can move on your feet, give different looks, is that why you think that they kind of picked you to say, we want to have this look also, as opposed to, the European heavyweights are big power guys. Yeah. They're not big movers, we know, but they can punch, they're strong, right. Durable.
Yeah, I think that's a major reason as to why they chose me, is the footwork. I move, I just do a lot of different things,
for people, man. Look, and I've watched you evolve as a fighter from a young man to where you are today, at many different stages of your career, from amateur to pro. People who don't know your style, you're a very slick, naturally gifted individual who you're a creator.
Yeah.
If you were to try to teach your style to somebody, it's kind of hard because you're creating on the moment. You're picking stuff up, your angles, your movements, you're slick, you're not getting hit.
You know what it is? I adjust very well.
Yeah.
Like if I get caught with a shot, I won't get caught with it again. I'll know why I got caught that time, and I'll adjust. I'll kind of put my body in a weird position where you can't really hit me the same, or like it's weird, man.
But you can punch from those positions. What a lot of people look, that's it. That's where it doesn't become traditional. If you're probably a style I would assimilate more to a more modern day Muhammad Ali of the movement for heavyweight. You're not a big heavyweight, not a small heavyweight either, but
right.
you have that, you can punch and you can move in that Ali type of range. And you know what? You can trash talk a little bit too with everybody, and
if I need to,
and kind of get into people's heads and talk them out. So they throw you off the plane the first day you're sparring.
Yeah, man.
How I know you work with everybody, man. You've been around. Your dad. You're not afraid to work with any top heavyweight. You've been in camps with different people, but was this the biggest camp that you were in and to date, or do you feel that, was it a little intimidating at first for you?
Well, I've been in the Luis Ortiz camp.
Right, that's right.
I've been Jake Paul camp. I've been in a lot of different camps with heavyweights, but this one I was the most nervous for because it's Tyson Fury.
Yeah. And you're
6'9".
You're going for all the belts.
Yeah, 6'9", Tyson Fury. He can box. He's an amazing fighter, great fighter. I've been watching since I was young.
Yeah.
And I get off the plane and they threw me into sparring the first day. And going into that, I was like, man, this is my moment. I have to shine. I'm here to help him, of course.
Right.
But I need to look great.
Right.
There's eyes. There's people.
Right. There's people judging your talent at that moment, or being in camp, they could have turned around and said, okay, we saw enough. Thank you. put you back on the plane and you're going home, right?
Exactly.
So, you know, you want to be able to say, okay, I want to last here.
Yeah. So we did the 4 rounds. You know, I was pretty tired at the by the middle of the 4th round. I was pretty tired.
Yeah.
And he was also. But then after the sparring, he's like, "Great work. You're very slick." I'm like, "Oh, thank you." And from that day, I just started to train like an animal.
So on that first day of sparring, right? You're getting your feet. What's going through? Like, how do you figure? Like, you're going in the ring.
Yeah.
What were you thinking I'm going to do there? What was your thought process as far? Because you're used to working with your dad. A coach is with you.
Mm-hmm.
You're out there. There's no coach.
Right.
You're on your own. You're sparring with the former heavyweight champion of the world. He's bigger than you.
Yeah.
Right. He's heavier than you.
Oh yeah.
What's going through your head? Like, you're like, okay, what's your plan at this point with him?
Really, I was just trying to figure him out. I was feinting, seeing what he bit on, or just trying to bait him into shots, and I wasn't throwing too much. I was really I wanted to see the way he moved and just observe him, really, and just analyze everything that he does for future sparring, and also, like,
Right.
I don't know. It was just really, that first day was just,
Feel him out.
Let me see what Tyson Fury's all about, you know.
Right.
And sure enough, you know, it was great sparring the first day, but man, after that day, I really started to lock in, and I'd train in the mornings and then spar at night in the afternoon. But I was really training hard. I was running. I was doing my strength and conditioning in the morning, and then it got serious. You know, he got in better shape. I got in better shape, and the sparring was...
Yeah, it starts to amp up.
Oh, yeah. The sparring got very serious.
Yeah, so you've been all around the world, right? Team USA, all through Europe, South America, sparring with different people.
Yeah.
Your amateur background.
Dominican team also.
Yeah, Dominican team also. No disrespect to them guys. You know, what would you say Fury is as a fighter? You know, like, we all see him on TV. He's, you know, I seen him. He's athletic for a man his size. I mean, he moves in person. You're in the ring with him. He's throwing. What are you seeing as far as him strengths and weaknesses as a fighter?
To be honest, Tyson is like, it's different when you're in there with him. You know, he's a smart fighter. You know, everybody knows he has an amazing jab. I have a great jab. So there was times where we were going jab for jab. But he's smart, and he really picks his punches correctly. And the man has so much heart, man. Like, for a man to still, like, have this, like, enthusiasm and through training and sparring, the guy's, like, made a lot of money. Like, he does not need to fight ever again. But the way he trains, it's like, he trains like one of those guys that have never made $1 off boxing. You know, it's just like still.
Yeah, he's had prior to being a champion, he's had, you know, some personal issues, an up and down career in boxing. You know, he's always been questioned of, you know, his heart, his ability to stay focused. I just kind of like the whole story of the guy because I love those stories of guys that can overcome adversity and you know, see him. The guy's a former champion. And like you said, made a lot of money out there in his day. And, you know, as a fighter, the motivation, you want to get paid, but you don't have to get out of bed and be away from your family for 3 months now to get ready for a fight.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is he, for a big guy, movement-wise, what are your thoughts there? Because, you know, people don't understand boxing. Sometimes they don't realize the man's 6'9".
It's huge.
Okay? And
He's huge.
to move for 12 rounds like he does and throw the amount of punches, you know what it's like. What were your thoughts there? Were you surprised, number one, with his movement and his power? Was it Was he more powerful than most of the guys or any of the guys that you've been with? And I know you don't get hit much, so
no, but
you're
you
being
could feel
slick.
it. You could feel it when
Yeah.
when you're blocking his punches. There's power.
Yeah.
He's a big guy and he knows how to use his weight and his power. A lot of big guys, they don't really they don't have any movement. It's very weird and awkward when there's like a guy 6'9" in front of you and he's moving like this and moving left and right, and it was crazy. It was very different. Great experience, but his movement is it's there, man. It's there. He's very athletic, I'd say, for a big guy.
Yeah. Now, your style of fighting, you've pretty much put your take on between your dad, yourself, throughout your career. You created, Fernely Feliz Jr.,
Right.
as a creation. I saw in a lot of your videos out there the style that they were working with, the Ukrainian style.
Oh, yeah.
And what they work on. Did you find it really different to what you've seen in your career? What do you think changes their approach to your approach of boxing?
I mean, I got to work with some of the Ukrainian guys that were there. So,
Right.
And their style's it's not a little different. It's very different.
Yeah.
What I like to do is I really like pick at things that I like. Just I was working with one of the sparring partners' dad, which is his coach. I think he coached the Ukrainian team at one point. But I was working with him, and I'm very good at selecting what I like about something and just taking it. And I'm very good at kind of just mastering it. Within a week, I can get something down. And their footwork is different. He was calling my footwork flashy. Oh, pretty boy. That's pretty boxing. They're more kind of like...
Yeah, they're more traditional.
Right.
Their movement is not creating angles like you or using your legs like you do.
Right.
Speed is not part of their game.
No. They really sit down on their punches.
Yeah.
Which is what I took from that. Sitting down a little bit more on my punches. And at the same time using my speed. But definitely, I guess that's the only thing I could take away from that is like sitting down a little bit more and being mindful of my balance and footwork in certain angles, really.
Yeah, fighting with the bigger heavyweights now, you're talking about sitting down on your punches. We know you could box, right? We know.
Yeah.
You know you could box. How do you rate your power with these guys now? Because I think people who know you maybe underrate your power because you're a boxer, okay? But I know you can punch because I've been there holding for you, and I can feel it. When you want to turn it up, you can turn it up.
Right.
And I think now because you're in better shape and you've grown physically, now your conditioning and you're a lot stronger than you've ever been.
Right. My power's up there, man. Like you said, a lot of people sleep on my power, but I pick and choose when to throw a power shot. Other than that, I'm really just landing punches, keeping your mind busy, and looking for that opening. I'm very, I want to say, I do a great job at picking.
Your ring
time.
IQ is high. You have very good, for people outside of the boxing world, your ring IQ is high. You're a calculated, tactical fighter looking, like you said, you're looking for an opening to expose their weakness,
right?
Which is, is big. A lot of guys are just out there, and nothing to take away from some of the Eastern European guys. I don't think they carry the ring IQ. I think they carry fundamentals.
Right.
They're strong, and if you're in the wrong spot at the wrong time with them, you're going to get hurt. Yeah. But I don't think they adjust to a fighter like your style of movement very well.
No, they don't.
And that's because, well, the other thing is, too, you've sparred with everybody, big guys, small guys, little guys, so you're prepared pretty much for anything as a fighter.
You have to be, yeah.
And getting the work here on the East Coast, being in the camps, it's a little different because we're seeing different styles on the East Coast.
Right. That style, I mean, I don't know, man. Everybody has their own style, but that European style, I feel like is very easy for me because I feel like they're one-dimensional. No offense to the Europeans.
No, listen, I'm not going to.
European fighters.
Listen, we talk about this all the time, and you could see it in the heavyweight division.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you want to stand and bang with them, that's not the approach to take.
Right.
Okay, but if you want to create angles and move with them, you're going to be successful, I think.
Right. I mean, not all European fighters. There's some out there that can box very well. But a lot of them, they're one-dimensional, in and out, straight 1-2s. It's basic.
Yeah. So now you're deep into camp, right?
Mm-hmm.
Camp is going. You're there. What's the dynamic there with his team? Are you brought into what is needed as far as training? Now, Sugar Hill was his main coach.
Yes. Shout out to Sugar Hill.
Yeah,
man.
shout out to Sugar.
Great guy.
Were there, like meetings, were there talks about, okay, this is what we're working on today, this is what we expect of you, or was it pretty much you got there like, okay, you're sparring at 11, you're going to do 6 rounds, and, you're kind of on your own type of thing? Or tell me about the dynamic of the camp.
Sugar's pretty funny when it comes to, like, who's sparring or, like, there wasn't really a schedule of, like, hey, Junior, you're doing Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah.
Or you're doing Monday and Friday. It was kind of like every day we all had to prepare for sparring. Lace up, put your headgear on, cup on, and just be prepared for sparring. There's some days I went 2 days in a row. You just didn't know. You just show up, and you would warm up with Tyson and everything, and it could be your day, or it could be a day where you're just on standby, which is like, it was great for my mental preparation, really.
Yeah.
Every time I went into sparring, like,
you had to be prepared getting up that morning that you were going to spar.
But every time, it was great because I would act like I was fighting. So, like, the night before, I was eating certain things that I would eat before a fight. I would do my whole routine as, like, I was fighting. So that really helped also. But, yeah, you would just show up and maybe you're sparring, maybe you're not. Maybe you do 2 rounds, maybe you do 7 or 8 straight. But as the camp went on, I remember my father telling me, hey, he's like that right now. He's a little slow now, but he's gonna sharpen up. So be prepared, stay busy, keep running, keep sprinting with them, and work on your condition. And sure enough, man, by like week 3, this man was on a whole different level.
He flipped the switch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I wasn't prepared and I wasn't training, it would have been very bad because he was on it, man. His footwork was just on point. He was like just nonstop jabbing. He had like this high guard too that was just very hard to it was hard to get to him at some points. But, I find a way.
Yeah. So, you talk about your dad here with his experience and the conversations that you guys had. And, him as a fighter also helped many, many, many top fighters, the Klitschko brothers, Evander Holyfield, and the list goes on and on with people that he's helped in his career. Do you think, him having that experience and that conversation is really helpful to you because he's giving you sort of the playbook and the insight of what you need to do for yourself to prepare for these guys?
Of course. I mean, experience is something you can't buy. That's something you have to live through and go through. The man's been in there with everyone, and especially those big guys like the Klitschko.
Yeah,
brothers.
I mean, he was in the beginning of, Vitaly and Vladimir's careers, being an intricate part of getting those guys ready.
Yeah. Funny enough, they haven't seen each other and spoken to each other in years. And I was just sitting next to Klitschko, and I'm like, hey.
Yeah, you were sitting next to Vladimir. I know you showed me the clip.
I was sitting next to Lennox Lewis and Vladimir. And I'm like, hey, my father used to train with you back in the day. And he's like, who's your father? And I'm like, Fernely Sr. And he's like, no, that's your dad? Yeah. So I called him on FaceTime, and I put them on the phone with each other, and that was a good moment.
You know,
it was really funny. It was so funny. They were
there
both
was a
laughing.
time in your dad's career before every fight, Vitaly would call your dad
Yeah,
the day before the fight
really. Yeah,
and wish him luck.
yeah. I mean, from what I've heard and stories that I've heard from other people, he gave them great work. You know.
Yeah, he did. But similar to you, your dad's skill set is a combination of you and your brother.
Yeah, literally.
Movement and power.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't the tallest heavyweight, but he was able to punch and he was able to move, and his defense was impeccable.
Yeah.
So
great defense.
Getting back on that, I'm sure that had to be helpful and give you confidence that he's been there.
Yeah, I mean,
so like you said, that experience is, and now you're gaining that experience. Your brother's gaining that experience in the sport. That's got to be invaluable right there.
I mean, of course, it's like having a cheat code. I mean, every phone call that my dad would, every time my father would call me, I just had a brain fart.
Yeah.
But every time my father would call me, it would be like, those are moments that are like, they're very crucial moments, bro. Like, the things he would tell me, hey, look, do this, try this, be aware of this. Like, I'm very blessed to have a man like that in my corner.
Yeah, I mean, look, not only as your dad, but as a coach, evolving into a fighter underneath his tutelage. Yeah, the experience is invaluable. What he's been around, not only these top fighters, but being in camp with these top coaches. Look, your dad was in camp with Emmanuel Stewart, Sugar Hill's uncle, Fritz. We can go up and down all these great coaches that your dad was around as a fighter. So now, not only as a fighter, you're taking that experience, but now as a coach, he's taking a little bit of his style and adding things in through that he's seen throughout the years. And, as a coach, you can't say like, he's been there.
Oh, yeah.
So he's speaking from experience end of it, which is, it's awesome to see you guys evolve into that now and start to be the next generation of fighters coming up to have that kind of experience.
Right.
So let's talk about now the fight a little bit. And we know the outcome.
Yeah.
Right? And you not only was able to finish camp, you were able to go to Riyadh.
Yeah, I was able to go with them.
Now, we know boxing is there. It is moved to there. The shows are becoming more and more prevalent. They're becoming bigger and bigger. Now, tell us about that experience. Now, you have not been to Riyadh yet.
Never.
This is your first time,
Never.
right? Now you're traveling, and you're traveling in style, I see. You're traveling. Right. You're not traveling on a commercial jet. You're traveling on a private jet there. Tell us what that was like when you hit the ground there, and then we'll kind of get into the experience of Fight Week and everything else and talk about the fight.
So I was sparring with Fury for the first 2-3 weeks, and it was in the first 2 weeks. I didn't know I was going to the fight.
Were you surprised that you were going to the fight?
I was just there for sparring. I thought they were just going to, use me for sparring and send me home. But then after one of the sparring sessions, I was sitting down with Spencer, just talking, and then Tyson comes over, and they both tell me, look, we're taking you to Riyadh. We want you to come with us to the fights. And I was just like,
Merry Christmas, thank you.
I was like, okay, this is cool. All right, yeah, I'm going. And I was very surprised, man. But they liked the work. They liked my style. They said I have a promising career. And they brought me out there, and I got to see everything we see on TV, man. Like, got to meet Turkey. Shook his hand. Just to be a part of that event was insane. It's the real deal. Yeah. That's like the biggest that boxing could get. Right
How are
now.
the fans over there? How are they? We see it on TV.
Yeah.
Right. Look, money moves the fighter. Right. Money helps the sport. They got the money right now. They're putting it together. But what is the fan response to these fighters and the treatment of you guys over there?
So they treat everyone like royalty over in Riyadh. they treat you like royalty, especially Tyson Fury. But I wouldn't say the fans are like, like New York fans or like fans in England at the Wembley. It's not like they're yelling and screaming. They're more kind of like respectful. It's
like the old school boxing fan.
Right.
The suit and tie guys that went and watched the fights in the 50s, the early 60s.
The ones acting wild and crazy were the Usyk fans. He brought a lot of people there. There was like a whole section full of Usyk fans. Those were the guys yelling and acting pretty wild. But for the most part, the fans were quiet. There was a lot of celebrities. Everywhere I looked, there was a celebrity. Oh, I know that guy from this movie. I know that guy.
Yeah.
Roberto Duran was right behind me. It was a crazy experience, man.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, for you to experience that, to come out of camp, and look, obviously with your career coming up, and progressing, to one day hopefully be there yourself as you move throughout your career, to get to see that. How do you feel about the sport progressing to Saudi? Is it a good thing for boxing? Is it something that, we've seen boxing in New York, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, as being big spots for boxing now. Yeah. Now we're starting to see Saudi put on the events. What is your take on that?
I think that's the best thing that could ever happen to boxing. I mean, fighters are getting paid money that they have never seen before.
Right.
And the events, the way this guy like prepares the events and all, like, I don't know if you watched the promo for the Usyk and Tyson. It was like a movie.
Yeah.
And if you know me, that's my style of like promotion. Like,
yeah, you're that creative, and even the fight before with Bivol and that whole thing is a production and the preparation. And I think the thing that I kind of like is they're putting good fights together. They're not putting lopsided fights. Even the undercards, the fights are pretty well matched. Mm-hmm. You got to be on your A game to go there. You're not just going there for a payday. You better be ready to perform.
Oh yeah, the way they match people up is like it's 50-50. I haven't seen like a
lopsided fight. I mean, even the Bivol Beaterbear fight was a great fight.
50-50.
Yeah.
He makes sure like, you make that money's worth,
Yeah.
Because he'll match you up with what's the right guy. And they're great fights.
Yeah, I think so.
So I think it's the best thing that could ever happen to boxing, really, if you ask me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so now preparation, right? Thoughts on Usyk. Now, you going into this fight, forget about being in camp for a second. Mm. Who are you thinking has an advantage? Without being in camp, if you're sitting home here in Danbury, who are you looking at an advantage here? Is it Usyk? Is it Tyson? What are your thoughts on Usyk as a heavyweight?
I think Usyk is a great fighter. Great. I think he's an amazing fighter. He's an amazing talent. There's things from Usyk that I've took and used for myself. But I was really thinking Tyson was going to do it. He was outboxing him the first fight. I thought it was very close. He just got hurt in that 9th round, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
He ends up getting hurt, and it could have been a draw, but they gave it to Usyk. I was really leaning towards Tyson, the bigger man that can box, and
yeah, I mean,
man.
My thoughts, look, not to take anything away from Usyk, he's not a particular style that I like to watch.
Right.
Not taking anything away. For his size and his movement, he's an awesome boxer.
He's very smart and calculated.
Yes, he's a very calculated fighter. Tyson was I just thought, after the Wilder fights with him and you could see the bits and pieces of Fury. And in my eyes, he was the bigger fighter, the stronger fighter, the better boxer, as far as movement, better jab. I mean, if you just had to put the numbers up, I was leaning towards Tyson also.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the fight a little bit. Now, you're there. You're ringside almost, right? You are ringside.
I was ringside.
You're ringside, right? So, what was without divulging the camp and everything else, what was going into the fight night, was Tyson as far as feeling? And you could see it without talking. You could feel his vibe. What do you think? His confidence level real high? Was there a concern? Was it,
There wasn't.
When you guys broke camp, it was like, okay, we're ready. This is a great camp.
Ready, yeah. He pushed himself in that camp.
Yeah.
Very hard, man. I remember like the first few times we were doing hill sprints, I was like number 1. I was making it to the top of the hill. I was in first place each time. Towards the end of it, man, there was just one time, the last time we did hill sprints, he was number 1. He was getting up there. He was getting down. He was like first, bro. Like he was the first one going up the hill, first one coming down. You know, when you're doing hill sprints, you go up fast and then you kind of like,
jogging back down.
He was running down, running right back up.
That surprised you for a man his size?
Of course.
And look, he went into this fight heavy. Did that surprise you?
No, of course. He put on some muscle. And the crazy thing is, I didn't know the man could run like that. He after doing 10 hill sprints or 12, he would just go on a 5-mile run like it was nothing. And it was like, to keep up with him, he's so tall and lanky. It looks like he jogs slow, but he's at a fast pace.
He's at a fast pace.
5 miles, like nothing. Just up and downhill. Pardon me.
Yeah.
But there wasn't a look. He didn't have any worries going into the fight. He looked 100% confident. And
could you feel it?
Yeah.
Could you feel it like when you broke camp? Like, as a fighter, you're in camp and when you break and you're like, yeah, I had a great,
Yeah, he was ready.
It was rubbing off on everybody.
Yeah, he was ready. He was ready to roll, man. He looked sharp. He did everything he needed to do. He looked sharp. To me, I thought he won the fight, to be honest. I haven't watched it back yet, but being there, I thought he might have won that fight.
I mean, watching the fight, I thought he won the fight. Okay? I wouldn't have been unhappy with a draw.
Me neither.
I wouldn't have been unhappy with a draw. I wonder, as a coach myself, was the weight an issue for him and why so heavy? I'm not, like, that's just a question I'm going to ask because I saw in that fight, and you were ringside, and it's a little different when we see it. I saw 3 times that Tyson Fury hurt Usyk. That really, and there was one right hand that particular, and there was an uppercut that he threw that he really got Usyk. But I didn't see anything behind it. And I thought, man, he's going to get him out. He is going to stop him because Usyk was coming forward constantly.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when he landed that right hand. It was huge. You
were right. You were right at ringside. What are your thoughts? You see it, and you know, for people who haven't been close to a fight or haven't been, there's a difference, and you hear the punches, and you can see in a fighter's eyes or his body language, when he's affected by a punch.
Yeah, I thought, to be honest, it was over when he landed that big right hand.
Yeah,
I thought it was like. We were just jumping up and down. I was very close to the ring. I was with the other guys, the rest of the team.
Yeah.
And man, I thought it was going to be over. But Usyk is just like he's a different beast, bro.
Yeah.
He can take a punch, and he can
give
one.
Because Tyson was what, 275, 278 for this fight? What was he? What did he weigh?
281 when he weighed in, but
okay. I mean, that's a big man
I think he was
right
like
there.
275.
That's
probably.
a big man, 6'9", throwing shots at you.
Oh yeah.
And moving.
Yeah.
What did you? You're ringside, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the vibe of the corner after each round as this fight's progressing?
I really couldn't hear the corner, man.
I'm not hearing it. You see it. What are you seeing as far as body language with Tyson and
I thought he looked great. He didn't look too tired. He looked great. There were some times he was looking towards us. He would wink like he was good, and I thought he was. I don't know, man. It bothers me to talk about it because I really think that I was there. I think he won that fight.
Yeah. Well, you were there, and you helped prepare, so you see the progression from the start of camp to where the finish was, and all the preparation, all the mental and the physical going into that fight.
Yeah.
And, what happened. Does the fact that Usyk is fighting for a country make him a different fighter? Is that more of a motivation to a fighter because of what's going on? And I don't want to go into the political aspect of it because I'm not here to talk politics either way, but I know one thing. He's a driven man.
Yeah, he says he fights for his country.
He says he fights for his country.
And that's what motivates him and keeps him going.
Yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't really tell you, but that's what he says. I mean,
now for you've fought for both ends of it, Dominican team, U.S. team.
Mm-hmm.
Is it motivational to fight for a country for you?
Of course.
Without picking a side? I'm not asking you to pick a side. I'm just saying.
No, of course.
Does that motivate you?
Because I'm not here to talk politics.
Yeah,
and
we're not going to talk
that.
politics.
This is Coach's Corner with Dave.
No, we're talking boxing.
No, yeah. No, it is, man. When you have a country behind you, it's a beautiful thing,
Yeah.
Gives you a lot of strength, motivation. I get DMs all the time from different people in the Dominican.
Yeah.
And it's a cool thing, I was blessed to be on the Dominican team, and I got a lot of experience from being on that team. I wasn't born there. I was born here, but I was able to represent them. And I got a lot of experience. A lot of experience.
Yeah, you had the best of both worlds. You got to represent both the U.S. and where your heritage comes from. So that's a blessing right there.
Yeah.
But going on to the fight, decision came up. Were you guys surprised? What was the reaction of the rest of the guys that helped prepare him? When that decision came down, what were they?
The only ones that were there is the Russian kid.
Mm-hmm.
And Kevin Lorena. We were all kind of in shock because it looked like he won the fight. Everybody thought he won it. And then when we heard the decision, it was like, oh, geez, like not even a draw. And then they say that Tyson only won 4 rounds. That's not.
No.
That's nowhere near.
I had him in the middle of that fight controlling well more than 4 rounds.
Yeah.
Sure. I could have questioned the last couple of rounds a little bit. Going towards the end of the fight.
Yeah.
But I didn't see Usyk having more than,
No.
And Tyson having only 4 rounds. I did not have it scored like that personally.
No.
You know what I mean?
If I can remember correctly, I think Tyson won the first 4, maybe lost the 5. The 5th round, 6th round, I couldn't really tell you.
I see Tyson having definitely 6, 7, and 8.
Yeah. For sure.
9. I see maybe 10, 11, and 12 could have been questionable.
Yeah.
But, I saw momentum change a little bit at times later in the fight, whereas maybe if he was later in the fight snapping some punches off and not on his back leg a little bit, it could have changed the way judges looked at it. I don't know. But after that, one thing, we seen Daniel Dubois jump in the ring afterwards.
Yeah, Daniel.
What are your thoughts there? And,
I thought
nothing for nothing, right? Whether you're a fan of Usyk or not, it's his moment.
Right. Not only that, I think it's very disrespectful to Joseph Parker because he's fighting Joseph next.
Yeah.
And I was in the back with Joseph, and he's a hell of a guy. Like, that's a really nice guy.
He's a tough fighter, man.
But he acts, he's like the nicest person in the world.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, if he flips a switch before he gets in there. But I met Joseph, and I got to talk to him. And we talked, a fair amount. And Daniel jumps in the ring and says, "Oh, I want you next," or something like that, when he clearly has a fight lined up with Joseph. I thought it was complete disrespect. I thought it was foolish.
Well, he's got to get, and look.
Because Joseph's
Dubois
nobody.
had some success lately.
He has.
He has, right? But he's still questionable, I think. Joseph Parker, to me, is a guy that you need to be careful with.
Of course.
Because of his experience and who he's been in with. He upset Wilder. He's got a lot of confidence going right now in his career, okay? And, nobody expected Parker to be where he is today. Everybody figured Wilder's going to go through him, guys are going to go through him, but here he is fighting Dubois. Dubois is suspect to me. He's suspect, okay? I question, okay? I question his chin. I question his heart in a deep fight with some of these guys. I definitely think that if he's not fighting Parker right now, I think Parker's going to beat him. After that debacle of what's going on out there, I think you just lit fire under Joseph Parker quietly that he is going to beat you, okay? That you're overlooking him to go to the next level. If you're not fighting Parker, I think Usyk just beats him because he's a better fighter than Daniel Dubois. Better ring IQ. And I think Dubois doesn't even touch Tyson Fury. No. Like, neither one of those two guys, like, you're barking up the wrong tree, pal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I thought it was foolish, man. I thought it was.
I didn't like it for one sense is because you got to give the champ his and Usyk was a class act. Yeah. The way he responded, you know, he was like, "We'll make that fight. We'll do whatever we got to do."
That's easy money for a guy like Usyk.
Yeah, I think, and you know what? It's definitely. I'll put you on the spot. Mm-hmm. Joseph Parker or Dubois. Who do you want out of those two? If you got a call to fight either one of those two, both tough fighters.
I'd probably go the Dubois route.
Yeah,
I feel like that's a good style for me. I know what he's going to do. You know, he's going to use his power and
he's going to try to outwork you muscly.
Stiff jab.
Yeah,
good
intimidate
right hand.
You.
But once again, this is boxing. It's about movement, angles. Yeah. You know, boxing is all about. This is a game of inches and angles. And man, if you can't get away from my shots, I'm gonna get away from yours. Best believe that. So I mean, I think that's a guy I can definitely beat. Joseph moves a lot. He moves more. Good boxer.
I think Joseph's a little more resilient.
Yeah.
That you got to work a little harder to get him out of there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, I think Dubois is going to make mistakes because of his aggressiveness, and he's a one-dimensional fighter.
Yes.
Okay, I think Parker is a seasoned veteran who's been in there with people who it looks like on paper, you take the Parker fight, we're going to beat him.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden it's in the 7th or the 8th round and Joseph Parker is still there, and you're having a tough time with him.
Oh yeah.
And he's strong and he can punch.
He can punch.
You know what I mean? So with that, let's 360 to you. Your career is starting to move. Your last 2 fights, you've stepped up in competition.
Yes.
You've been on, now you're getting some national exposure. You're on Pro Box, TV fights. I know a couple of fights have fell out for you due to opponents not wanting to fight you or whatever reasons there are.
Right.
But, I mean, your motivation now, you got to be really stoked coming out of that camp to take your next fight and really, really, like, I'm here. You were at the top level of sport, right? You've been with big guys. You've been with different fighters. You really got to say to yourself now, I belong in whether you stay at heavyweight or whatever your plans are for your career, but you've been there. You already say, look, I can fight with these heavyweights, these top 20 heavyweights, and you're just about ready to crack that code to get into the top 20. What are you looking for now coming out of camp? You're motivated. You're ready to go because 3 months of your life, you've been home, you're training again, you're getting ready, you're helping your brother who's fighting February 15th in Mohegan, which is, he's going to fight in Connecticut finally, close to home on CES promotion. So, don't miss Ali Feliz on that one.
Yes.
And I know there's been talk about you, whatever, but what are you looking at now as far as the next step for your career? Taking fights, who might be the next fight, what makes sense for you, and you're knocking on the door.
Well, there's a lot of things I can't speak about yet because they're not done. But
and we don't want to go there.
Yeah, 2025 is going to be a huge year for me. Just stay tuned and follow my career. is all I can say, because I will make some noise this year. I'm stepping up in opponents. I'm stepping up in just the shows that I'm fighting in. I think shout out to Pro Box for having me the last fight.
Right.
But I'm looking forward to fighting on these Riyadh cards and looking forward to fighting on big cards. Not main event yet, but definitely the undercard. I'm almost there.
You're almost there. And I mean, prior to Tyson Fury, you guys were working with Jared Anderson a little bit.
Yes, great fighter.
Unfortunately, he had a tough loss to Bacoli.
Right.
Okay, but he's a young guy. He's going to bounce back.
For sure, he'll bounce back.
Without putting you really on the spot, are there names that you would think about that would say, hey, is it a Jared Anderson? Is it somebody else out there that would fit your style, that would make a good fight? If you had your choice today and both fighters could come, who would be the guy that you think would make a good fight for your style?
To be honest, Dave, coming out of that camp, being around talent like Kevin Lorena, Alexis, Tyson Fury, Moses Atoma, he's a great fighter. Just like sharing the ring with those guys and being around them, like I really realized, if there was ever a doubt in my mind, it's gone. Like I really realized I belong here, like you said earlier.
Yeah,
I belong here. I belong with the big guys.
Well, you were successful. You stayed, right? You did rounds with the, Tyson Fury and everybody else and top heavyweights there. That's got to be motivation alone for you to say you're coming back. I mean, realistically, that's like getting to play baseball with the Yankees.
Exactly.
And
the highest level.
The highest level. Now you have that confidence. You've seen what it takes to prepare for a big fight.
Right.
You've seen what a team does, what a top-level fighter does in and out of the ring to prepare mentally and physically.
Right.
You were there. You lived it every day. Your career has been a work in progress.
Yes.
It's, in a sense, you've been taking the time to grow into the fighter I think that you are.
Right. And I have 8 fights, but I'm a seasoned veteran.
Right.
I'm seasoned already. And
a seasoned veteran who hasn't been banged up in fights.
Exactly. So I'm not the fighter that's going to need 17 to 20 fights to make it to the big leagues. I think within 2 to 3 fights I'll be matched up in a good position. But if there's anybody out there that you asked me if there's anybody out there that would fit my style, as much as I love everybody, a lot of these guys are my friends. I consider them friends or people that I like. Jared Anderson, all of them, anybody. To be honest, anybody. I feel like I can beat anybody now.
Do you think with that, as you now are moving, do you think guys are going to avoid you because you can be dangerous to their careers and their movement by, you're in a position, you're rising. Some of these guys that are a little bit ranked above you right now don't want to lose that ranking, don't want to lose that rising. I mean, eventually you're going to see them or they're going to have to make a choice or, whatever the boxing gurus put together for you, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, do you think at that point people are really taking notice to what, they knew of you coming up throughout the ranks, but now after this last camp, do you think that it's like, oh man, I don't know if I really want to fight him, or I don't know if that's a good fight for me at this time?
The good thing with just having 8 fights and being a professional for this amount of time is that a lot of people haven't been able to see me. And I haven't fought in 6 months maybe? But in those 6 months, I've evolved.
Yeah.
And people haven't been able to really see me fight often, which is a good thing, because I feel like I'm one of those guys that are going to come out of left field and make somebody look very bad. Right. So I don't know. To answer your question, maybe they will avoid me. Maybe they look at me and say, oh, this guy only has 8 fights and there's not much footage on him.
Right.
And take the fight, and they will look bad.
Yeah, I like that advantage. You know what? I think I like that. And then, look, right now, you also are working with your brother, Ali.
Yes.
And he's getting ready to fight again, had a great year, turning pro, has moved pretty quick and is evolving. I mean, to have that work between your brother and your dad, that's invaluable as a fighter. If we take the aspect of him bringing your brother and your dad out of the picture, just having someone of his caliber and your dad's caliber of coaching to get you ready for these fights is just like, so we know that you don't got to run around looking for work all the time because it's right there.
Right. I think it's the best thing in the world, man. Not only to have a father who's just has all this experience, who I still learn from on a daily basis. There's still certain things. There's never like that, it's my dad. I've been around him for my whole life. I know what he's going to teach me. There's always space to evolve, and he's always coming up with new strategies and ways.
He's got to evolve as a coach because the game of boxing has changed. Yeah. Not so much from when he was, but the athletes of boxing have changed. Okay,
yes.
Boxing's boxing, right? We got to, the fundamentals of boxing have not changed.
Right.
Athletes are changing. Size is changing. Speed is changing.
Yes.
Strength, strategy is changing a little bit. Preparation for these athletes have changed, right? We don't. And that's one thing is like you guys are prepared in a different way where your bodies can physically respond. You're not abused in the sense that you're overworked, you're hurt, you're dealing with injuries. What's it like working with your brother? Now, you guys were my first two, and I know, but now his level has changed.
Yes.
And you're a big help as far as helping him evolve also because he is a different fighter than you, total different style fighter.
Yes, we have different styles, but what's it like working with my brother? Man, there's nothing better. There's nothing better than working with him. You have a fighter who's a great fighter, and he's young, he's 21, and he's still evolving, but he's a great fighter. He's in front of you.
A little too much sometimes.
Yeah, he's in front of you. It's hard to get away from him sometimes. And every time we train together, we get better. There's not one time where I'm like, Ali, try this. And he'll tell me also, hey, you're throwing that shot at me, but you're leaving this side open or you're open here. There's nothing better, bro. There's nothing better than that.
Yeah. So 2025, we expect some big things for the Feliz brothers.
Yes.
Right? I mean, he's getting ready now. You guys had, some great sparring a couple weeks ago with Zhang.
Yes.
That's
Big
Bang. My man out there. Shout out to him and Kurt and Sean George, my peeps. Great work there. The next thing now is kind of like see where you're going to land, and aside from the fighting, your creative side of putting all of this together, are we going to see more footage from camp, or is that you're going to be just kind of respect the camp and leave it at that? Because I know you had some great footage out there, and I know I know as far as your side that people don't see the creativity that you have as an artist, as a musician, as a creator, is an important part of you and what makes you unique as a fighter.
Yeah. No, I posted like what I can post on my stories. Whatever you saw is like what I have. I was being very respectful to the camp. It's a very private camp.
Which people don't understand, that leakage of, that's another thing about being a professional, that you're not leaking what's going on out there, that you're respecting him getting ready for a fight and everything else.
Yeah, those are things that'll get you kicked out of a camp easily.
Yeah.
If there's any leaks of footage or even him shadowboxing or something.
Yeah.
That stuff is serious. You can't leak anything. You can't like post anything really. Just like, pictures.
Little stuff.
The view.
Yeah, the view, pictures of you and stuff like that.
I have like some videos of me and Tyson dancing in the ring and stuff like that, which are pretty cool. Maybe one day I'll release that, but I was very respectful.
No, and that's why you were there, and you ended up going with them Do you think we'll see a rematch? Just your gut. Don't even go into your gut after being there.
Will there be a rematch? I don't think so. I don't think it'll happen. You know, I don't think it makes sense at this point. I see maybe if Tyson's going to fight somebody, it'll probably be Joshua.
Yeah, that's my thought.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the fight that's been haunting boxing people for years. I think Joshua needs a fight like that to make a name for himself. That's my opinion, and you know, people could hate on it or not. I think, honestly, if Tyson Fury is mentally and physically ready, Joshua is going to fold under that.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think he's built like Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
Personally. Not skill-wise, personally. But that, so you know what? I see, you know, we're going to kind of wrap up, but your social media is building. Your brand is building.
Yes. This year I'm going to release a lot more content. Right now I'm like stacking it all up.
Yeah.
And I will release a lot more funny videos, a lot of training clips, a lot of Feliz brothers. Stay tuned because I have a lot of things coming up on that Feliz Bros Instagram. Yeah,
which I think is big. And you know what? Real quick, how are you balancing all of that? Because, you know, between training, right now you're getting ready, you know, keeping your creative side up, and you're a dad.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a father also. And, you know, you're a full-time balanced guy out there, and, you know, to balance all of that, how do you balance it all?
I mean, I think anybody who thinks they can do it all by themselves is a moron.
Yeah.
You can't do this stuff by yourself. I have an amazing team behind me. My father, I have Ali, Jason Benitez, who helps me with all the video stuff.
Shout out to Jay.
Shout out to Jay, big time.
Yeah.
He's a huge help.
Yeah.
You have guys like AJ Galante, who I can always say, hey, I need this, or can you help me with merch, or can you help me with something? He's always like the first one to be like, yeah, of course, let's do it.
Yeah.
Dave McDonough here, if I ever need anything, I'm like, hey, Dave, I need pads, or hey, Dave, I need this, or hey, Dave, I need tape. These are all like important things that help you balance. When you do so much stuff, like I do the acting, I do the videography, the boxing, music. I have a music studio. You need a strong team.
Yeah.
And it's a small team. I don't have 30 people. I have like these 5, 6 people that are
you got
super
your family,
important.
You know? Shout out to your mom.
My mom too.
Let's not forget her, because
No, I can never
she'll be
forget my
whipping
mom.
our butts down the road, you know?
I love my mom.
Of course.
Shout out to you, Mom.
Yeah.
But,
So,
but that's how I balance it.
That's good. So, you know, I got to ask you one other thing before you go. After boxing, which is it?
I'm a full-time entertainer after
You're going to be an
boxing.
entertainer?
Full-time.
Full-time entertainer.
You know, you're getting the serious side of me right now, which people don't really see. But I've been very serious, mellow, speaking to you about, you know, boxing and stuff like that.
Yeah, your professionalism is, you know what, but, you know, if people go to your social media, they can see a different side of you.
Oh, yeah, they won't recognize this person. They'll be like, wait, what? That's two different
you're like
people.
Superman. You walk into the phone booth, you come out
Yeah.
with your cape on. Yeah.
For everybody watching, make sure you follow me at Fernely_Jr. Fernely Jr.
Yeah.
Check it out. Funny videos.
You know, let's not forget about Feliz Brothers, because
at Feliz Bros.
You know, we need to promote your brother and what you guys are doing together as brothers. You know, we saw the Klitschko's.
Yes.
Are you guys the next heavyweight champs, you and Ali, together? I mean, we haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah, I think eventually we'll get to that point of both dominating the heavyweights.
Yeah.
I'm right now going into maybe cruiserweight, winning the title there and moving up. But I think eventually, like, you know, down the line, we're going to dominate the heavyweight division.
Yeah, I think the
It's
wave
gonna be
is coming.
tragic.
I think the wave is coming.
It is.
You know, I think the wave is coming. So, you know, listen, you know, Fernely, you know, I got much love for you, and you know what, I appreciate you coming on, and you know, I'm excited to see what happens for you in 2025. I'm really, really impressed with the way you came back from camp.
Thank you.
Watching you physically, mentally, you know, as far as you're ready to rock and roll, and I hope the opportunities come for you, and I know when they come, you're going to surprise a lot of people who don't know about you, but we know what's there and what can be done. And, I want to wish you luck on your career, you and your brother and your dad, for 2025, because, boxing world, watch out, because the Feliz brothers are coming. And you know what? We'll see you on the next round of Coach's Corner.
And thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. I love what you're doing. I've been watching your stuff lately, and it's improving every time.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. And, it's coming from a little bit of guys like you who've taken me out of my comfort level and critique me, and, Ian Bick and everybody, Mac Ronan, here at Creative Evolution.
I've always said it, man. You have the voice, and you have something about you that I think people like to watch you and listen to you. You have the voice, you have the attitude, the swag.
Yeah, but you know what? Boxing is boxing. It's been our passion, and you know what? When you do what you like, it's not work.
And you've been around it since I was like, I can't even
blessings to your dad for that, because I owe a lot to him for showing me the ropes. I was very blessed to start at the highest level in boxing due to your dad. And you know what?
Since the car wash days.
Yeah, since the car wash days. But that's an invaluable lesson that you cannot get anywhere else. It's just that experience, like he has as a fighter, that experience to watch camps and be around people and introduce to different trainers and fighters and learn and learn and learn. It's been valuable. But
you and AJ's story is kind of similar. You're just thrown into like that level of boxing.
Yeah.
So when AJ started, he started at a pretty decent level also. Just thrown in there. Hey, come with me.
That's because I couldn't sing or dance.
Oh, man. That's not true. Don't let him fool you. Dave has moves. He could sing. He can dance.
Yeah.
Smooth guy.
All right. Well, we'll catch you on the next round of Coach's Corner. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Look for us again, and thanks to my subscribers. But this is something we want to start doing before some big fights going on. I think this is, give a little boxing insight out there.
Well, I'm here for you whenever you need me.
100%.
Once again, this is Coach's Corner with Dave McDonough. Stay tuned.